So as you look at this case, um, I guess, there's a fork coming up in the road with the evidence or suppressed.
Right.
Is this a case they could pursue if all of the evidence that's been requested to be suppressed by the defense is actually suppressed?
I don't think they can. I really don't. When I think about the fact that what's being alleged is they went into that phone, did the extraction without permission to do the extraction. So they got all that geolocation data. And that's how they were able to determine he went to the Home Depot, how he went to those dumpsters and the different areas where he allegedly deposited items. How do you get that if you've done it? How can you get that some other way if once the cat's out of the bag, isn't it already out of the bag? And didn't they already kind of basically cross the line? And what I don't understand is, why didn't they get a search warrant to begin with? Why would you dance around with consent? That made no sense to me. And the prosecutor, I can't understand why the prosecutor didn't say, well, let me be here when we do this conversation, or let me make sure that we have everything we need. It doesn't seem like the right hand was talking to the left hand.
Yeah, this is like this is their version of the solo cups to collect evidence. It's just sloppy, it's inappropriate, and now it's coming back to bite them in the ass.
It really is. It really is. And when you watch it, to me, the way some of these troopers, particularly Buchanan and even Fanning too, they get on the stand and they present this attitude like, well, because I said so, because that's how we do it. I said so. And there's no documentation to support what they're saying. And they almost kind of contradict each other. It's like Buchanan's like, well, this is what was asked for, but then I had to leave and go to Washington, D.C. So Fanning picked it up. And it's a mess all over the place. And of course, just like in Karen Reed, we don't have reports for phone calls with the defense attorney. We don't have reports documenting what did Walsh say to them. We don't have any sort of consent to search form filled out. We don't have a receipt for the cell phone and or iPads that were collected from him. I just can't believe that all of those things are missing. And then for the prosecutor not to say, well, where are we here? Let's cross our T's. Let's dot our I's. Let's make sure that if we're going to look at anything in this phone, that we have all of this squared away so that whatever we do see will stand up further down the line when we get to court, if we get to go to court.
And one thing we learned from Karen Reed, from every law enforcement officer that's been on, Cheryl McCullum, Joe Jacqueline, is that and as you said, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. I mean, that's the premise that you follow. And here, how could you not even, the attorney for Brian Walsh said, no, that's not, we agreed to just conversations. They could look at conversations between the two, right? Here's your text conversation with Adam Walsh, and that's it. And so it's the attorney versus Buchanan and Proctor and Fanning and the same group of people. Now, let me ask you this. In the normal course, had we not had Karen Reed, would they have been believed over the attorney?
Well, probably, although Sandra Birchmore is a big black eye for them as well up there.
Right.
But I do think, yes.
We're covering tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I do think typically, yes, they probably would have been believed. Because I do think, I also have to, in some ways, wonder about Brian Walsh's defense attorney. Why would you consent to anything? Make him get a search warrant. Yeah. If I'm not an attorney, but that would have been my advice.
Ironically, he may have, helped himself by doing that, right? Yeah. But in that hearing, the suppression hearing, you're hearing Buchanan and these other cops telling, counsel what was said, what was agreed upon. And then maybe there was an email, a vague email that sort of confirmed what was said. It's just, it's laughable. But my question then is, with the judge or any judge, everyone has their way. Is a judge, a generic judge, more likely to lean toward admission or more likely to lean towards suppression?
I think more towards suppression because, I mean, I would view it as she has to uphold the Constitution and his Fourth Amendment right. And if she makes the wrong ruling, does that give him grounds for appeal down the line? Wouldn't you think?
There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, when I was watching that, I was thinking to myself, how can she not? I mean, it's basically a he said, she said, where the troopers are against, as you said, the defense attorney. And the defense attorney in her affidavit mentions nothing about a phone conversation with Yuri Buchanan at all. So did he just suck that out of his thumb? Did he make that up? What is that? I've
never heard that. Suck. Is that an FBI term that stuck that out of your thumb?
That's my term.
I've never heard that one before.
But I do wonder too. I mean, these judges aren't immune living in this area to what's been said about these troopers. And I don't know. I mean, I can't read the tea leaves, but her tone did not sound impressed to me during those hearings.
Yeah, well, there was a motion to get Proctor's cell phone text, and she did deny it. She said that you could make a TUI request to the federal government, just as Alan Jackson and the Commonwealth did in Karen Reed, to get anything that maybe there's something on there relating to Brian Walsh. Who the heck knows with these guys, right? Maybe there is a conversation that we don't know about, that Proctor is talking to his friends about this case too.
Well, and also from the district attorney's office, I mean, we're hearing in Aiden's case that they had these covert emails and these, conversations via other means that weren't their official government or accounts, their official business accounts. So that, to me, if you read that, or if I wrote that in one of my novels, people would be like, oh, that wouldn't happen. But it is happening. And so when you go, circling back to your question, though, about the judge, I think she's got a hard decision here ahead of her, because, I mean, the evidence is very, very concerning that we've seen. But
well, yeah, the bone fragment on the hacksaw.
I hate when that happens.
Rolled up and put in the dumpster at his mother's house. To me, I wouldn't need anything more. I mean, that would be like it,
Yeah. Yeah. So, we've seen it with Karen Reed. The prosecution doesn't seem to care really what the evidence is, if they want to go after you, if they want to pursue you. So I don't know that. I guess the distinction is, would they have enough to properly pursue the case if all was suppressed, or would it stop them from pursuing the case if all were suppressed? Very different mindsets. They may go full speed ahead because that seems to be what they do.
Yeah, exactly. They would rather, try and then say we tried, rather than do the right thing, prosecute the right person, or wait to make sure they have a winnable case, so that they don't basically take their shot and lose. I just think that district attorney's office is not like any prosecutor I have ever worked with. I cannot understand it. I can't understand how the attorneys work in that office if that's the way they run. How can they say, yes, we're going to take this case, we're going to put our reputations on the line, when they see the work done by these investigators?